Shabbat Shalom, or Happy Feast of Dedication. I'd like to start off by saying, Kol Halayama Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Double honors to all the prophets, the elders, the apostles, the teachers, the disciples, the Akwath and Akiyam coming into the sincere 100% truth. Now, as you guys know, when a rich man speaks, I'm going to bring it out too. Let me get it too. But when a rich man speaks, the people listen. When a poor man speaks, the people are offended. So, of course, they try to take all Kanye's money away, and then now he's a poor man, the people are offended at his speech. But that's not what we're getting into today. But Kanye did say some things that made people listen, because he's actually a rich man in our community. They can try to take everything from him. They did that on purpose to show their power. But, like I said, that's not what we're going to get into today. We're going to get into what Kanye and Kyrie Irving were talking about, saying that they're the real Jews. So, this class is going to be the secret identity of the Israelites according to the Bible. We're going to be talking about Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, and Naphtali. Okay? Will be scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So, according to the public school system, in 1619, August 20th, the first Judean coming over on the transatlantic slave trade was it was the first slave to be sold on U.S. soil. So when the people are talking about the 400 years, and the problem with that is this is a 400-year slavery. I guess you could call it that, but it was a little bit longer than that for some, a little bit less for others. And you're not gonna come out of here with great sustenance. So if you read the whole scripture in context, you are not being removed from this place with all these people's stuff. That's just not happening. You're going out of here with nothing, because everything has to be destroyed. Everything in this land is unclean to us. So what would we be taking with us that would be some great abundance? There isn't any. The abundance and the great sustenance, when you get into, and we're talking about Revelation, I think it's Genesis, sorry about that, chapter 15, I think, and 14, 15, 16 and 15. Hold on. It's, and they will be slaves in a land that's not theirs 400 years. What chapter and verse? Genesis, 15, I was right. 15 and 13. So I was right there. I was like, well, 2 verses away. And he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed will be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. You see, now here's the problem. That sounds like right now, but this is where we get into a problem. And also that nation whom shall serve, I will judge. Okay, that's also happening. We're still on that, but watch this. And afterwards shall they come out with great sustenance. And sustenance means great riches. The only riches you're going to have as the 1/3 is being able to go into the kingdom. And what the kingdom has for you and what the world we live in have for you are two separate things. So, I mean, if you want to use that scripture in context for this day and age, just know this. It only lines up if you can understand that you are not taking anything with you, and your great sustenance will be in the kingdom. It is the kingdom. So really it doesn't line up. It just doesn't. But it sounds like it does. That's why you have to study. Study to show thyself approved. But let's get into this class though, because what I was talking about is the 400-year slavery, which is actually from 1619 to I think 1865 is when the actual hard bondage of slavery. Now, of course, in 1866, they were still beating the brakes off us all the way until today. But that's when they would say that the official hard bondage has been lifted and that we are no longer slaves, which was not true. We all know that. But let me get into this class. So now we know that the 400 years doesn't really line up like that. But there are other scriptures that do line up with what's going on right now. Why are the Israelites waking up? Why are all these so-called black people calling themselves Israelites? But what they do is a slander. I have another class showing because we have been scattered to the four corners of the earth that we are going to look like the other nations that we are scattered with. What does that mean? Does that mean everybody's going to look like Kanye or Kyrie Irving in the four? I don't see any people in China or Japan fit in that description. So, if the Israelites are scattered to the four winds or the four corners of the earth, they're going to look like the people that they're scattered among. Think about it. Now, we're going to get into the original Israelites that are in the Bible. Whew. According to the public school system in 1619, August 20th, the first U.S. slave was sold on American soil. Until honest Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which freed the slaves, but the South still passed Jim Crow laws, which separate and segregate the Negroes from the so-called whites. And then in 1960, we had civil rights, and there's your Black history. All done. We can go now. That is the European depiction of Black history. Wait, there's more, because we have prior, which means before the transatlantic slave trade. Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Because when I was a little kid, they tried to make me believe that I was a spear-chucking African, which doesn't make sense since my grandfather is Cherokee. And I even saw the paperwork where they labeled our people Indian, nigger, Indian, nigger, Indian, nigger, and then it stops. And so some of our people were still part of the native nation, and other people were considered Negroes. It just depended on the paperwork. So, prior to the transatlantic slave trade, where do we come from? So, in school, Black history starts at slavery, and that's not even 400 years. It literally starts at slavery. So, our history, according to the Europeans, is less than 400 years if you want to think about it like that. But let me keep going. Why is so-called Black history such a big secret? I mean, think about it. When not only, I mean, Kyrie Irving, Kanye, I don't know if you guys know who Slim Thug is, but he was saying the same thing. Nick Cannon, he tried to say something. What did they do? They did the same thing to him that they did to Kanye. They tried to strip him of everything he has. Take away his shows, take away this, take away that. You can't tell people this information. So the question is why is Black history a secret? Because they're calling us Africans. So I want to show you something right now. You call me an African, I might beat your ass. Since I was a child living in Pomona in LA County, one of the worst places in all Southern California. Since I was a child, everybody in my neighborhood knew that we were not Africans. And if you just so happened to call one of the people from my neighborhood an African, you were definitely speaking fighting words. So plan on being in a fight with a bunch of people start trying to call somebody an African where I'm from. We were not. No one ever. I'm telling you, those were fighting words. You get beat up for calling somebody an African. So, with that being said, let me show you something. Ham, the youngest of Noah's sons, became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro races. In Orthodox Christianity, they teach that all dark races are from Ham, including the Negro. But the funny thing is white people didn't show up until about 6,000 years ago. Anyway, but we're going all the way back. Everybody before that was Swarte. You can look it up. In other words, everybody before, in biblical times, almost everybody had dark skin until a certain point in history. Isn't that interesting? So, Ham is the youngest of Noah's sons, becoming the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro races. Like I said, Orthodox Christianity teaches that Ham is all dark races, including Negro races. So there's one strike against Christianity. And I already showed you the word Christian used to just be a cut down against the people that followed Yahushua. And they would call it, it's the same as calling somebody a nigger. So, but anyway, you Orthodox Christians say that all dark races are Negro. And all dark races are Ham. In other words, Africans, including the Negro race, which is not true. The biblical scholars tell a different story. The Bible says we are not from Ham. Ham's sons are Egyptians, Ethiopians. So you Ethiopians are not Israelites. You are Hamites. Egyptians, Ethiopians, Liberians, Canaanites, not Negroes. And you Egyptians are actually Metzarim. The word Egyptian means bondage or slave or dark skin. Also, it also means dark skin. But you guys would be Metzarim, descendants of Metzarim, which still is not an Israelite. Now, George M. Frederickson, the Stanford professor, this book is called The Black Image in the White Mind. This is page 74 through 75. Okay? I don't have the actual books. So what I do is I write down the information word for word in my own little book so I can have all the important stuff that I can share with you guys. So, I am going to be bringing out some information. But in the 1840s, Morton collaborated with George R. Gideon, an Egyptologist who provided him mummy heads and information about racial significance of Egyptian tomb inscriptions. And And it's also in, this is the name of the book, Crania Egyptea, published in 1844. So the cranial structure of the so-called Egyptians, that's what this book is describing. It's going right into how their bodies and their heads are shaped. Listen carefully. Crania Egyptea, published in 1844. Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence showed that the Egyptians were not Negroes. Were not Negroes. That means they are not the descendants of Shem. These Egyptians, which like I said, descendants of Metarim, are not Negroes. So, the Negroes in slavery are not Africans. They're not Hamites. As abolitionists and colonizationists had maintained that, in fact, blacks had been regulated to the same servile position in ancient Egypt as in modern America. So there were certain people in Egypt that were not Egyptians that had the same cranial structure as the people that came here on the transatlantic slave trade. So the Egyptian slaves that Moses freed, because people died before Moses got everybody out of there, is what they're trying to show you. 2.5 million people left Egypt, but what it's showing is the people that were slaves, that they did have the cranial examinations and cranial structure still. The people over here in America matched up perfectly to the people that were the slaves in Egypt during the times of Moses. That's what that's saying. So what this is saying is black Americans, that's a lot right there, so-called black Americans are the biblical Israelites. This is just the tip of the iceberg of why we call ourselves Israelites. And all you stupid, loud-mouthed, dumb women out there telling how you feel and what you think, according to Scripture, that is called the vain precepts of men, or man's vain imagination. You making that shit up. Get the facts right. Don't ever open your mouth in the congregation of the real men. You're just gonna look dumb. I watched the video just this morning. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad. I was yelling at the station. I couldn't believe it. It was Biblical Defenders. Man, he puts out some of the best videos that you can possibly get. So I advise subscribing to Biblical Defenders. Man, he'll get your blood boiling and he'll bring the scriptures out to settle you back down. But like I said, let's get back into this class. What this is saying is black Americans are the biblical Israelites. Now you know what Kanye and Kyrie Irving are talking about. This is the book of, let's go to it. Second Kings, KJV, Blue Letter. All right, we're going to 2 Kings chapter 17, and we're going to start at verse 6. This is called the evidence of who the Israelites are, and what do we have in common being the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. What do we have in common with the Israelites from the Bible? Let me tell you. Israelite captivity for not following the instructions of Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shad. Wa Rakadash. In other words, you didn't follow God's instructions in the name of so-called Christ. Okay? Let me show you. This is called an Israelite captivity. And I'm going to show you a few of them just so you can get an idea that this is not an isolated incident. First of all, 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala, in the harbor by the river of Gazan, and in the cities of the Medes. The city of the Medes. So in the 9th year, what did they do? They went into an Assyrian captivity. Let's keep going. Watch this. I'm going to show you guys something right now. Let's go to the Chronicles of the King, the first Chronicles of the King. And we're going to go to chapter 9. And this is another captivity. Just going to go ahead and start from the top. So all Israel, this is very interesting too, were reckoned by their genealogies. So you are the seed of their father. So they knew that they were taking Israel when they were getting. They knew them by their genealogies. And behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, who were carried away to Babylon for their transgressions. Babylonian captivity. So we've got Assyrian captivity. Now we've got Babylonian captivity. Let's go to the book of Ezra. Are you starting to see a trend yet? You descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, are you seeing a trend yet? Hold on now. Let's go to the book of Ezra. Whoops. No, whoops. There we go. Book of Ezra, we're going to go to chapter 9. Watch this. Watch this. Let's go to verse 9. Let's skip right to the point. For we were bondmen, slaves, yet Yahweh hath not forsaken us in our bondage, slavery, but hath extended mercy unto us in the sight of the king of Persia. So what captivity is this? A Persian captivity. Do you understand why no other nation will be able to get in the kingdom? So far, almost every nation has put us into captivity. And if they didn't put us into captivity, they tried to kill us in war. But let's keep going. So, he extended mercy unto us, the Israelites, in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us a reviving, to set up the house of Yahweh, and to repair the desolations thereof, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem. Once again, northern and southern kingdom. So, what captivity was that? That was a Persian captivity. We're going to go now over to First Maccabees chapter 8, KJV. First Maccabees chapter 8, KJV. It like put it up, and of course it erased it and then tried to go to some other stuff. Let's go down to verse 18. Let's get right to the point again. And to entreat them that they would take the yoke from them, for they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. the Greeks were oppressing us with slavery. So, a Greek captivity. So, I mean, do you guys understand that they have been doing this to us since the beginning of time? Who are the Greeks today? Well, the Greeks are the progenitor of the Romans, and the Romans are the progenitor of the modern day Europeans, and the modern day Europeans are the progenitor of the modern day American Caucasian. That's why we tell you, you can't be an Israelite. You can't be a descendant of the children of Israel. You didn't go through any of the captivities. You didn't suffer any of the curses, and everybody's smacking their lips and bumping their gums, saying, well, that doesn't matter. Then why are you so mad? Why are you all up in your emotions, your vain imagination? You're all up in your precepts that you made up yourself, and then you want to tell somebody how you feel, shaking your neck and waving your hand. Honestly, in the kingdom, if you're in the kingdom, not in this place, but in the kingdom, anybody ever came up to me like that, I would slap the teeth out the side of their face and then tell them, pick them up and don't ever make eye contact with me again. Because you are disrespectful to the children of Israel, and you will find out in the end. Noah. How long did Noah get laughed at while he told the people of the land that there was going to be a flood? Why? 120 years he spoke to the people. Why did they laugh at him? Because he said water was going to fall from the sky. Now, if you knew anything about the biblical history, it says in the scriptures, water never fell from the sky before. They thought he was crazy. So when we tell you that Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, is coming in chariots to beam up his people, and he's going to set fire to this whole place and destroy it all, you laugh at us, just like they laughed at Noah, because you've never seen nothing like that before, so you can't believe it. But that's okay. That's okay. Because what we are going to do is go back into this class. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, because now we're gonna get some more facts. We're gonna get some more outside sources, and then we're gonna call it a day. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. So, Jeremiah chapter 2, blue letter KJV. We're going to jump right down to the point again and go straight to verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So Jeremiah's like, are we just born to be servants? Why are we always the ones that are the slave? And it's a really easy answer. I mean, even Kanye told you, well, slavery is a choice. We chose to follow after false gods and go after the other nations' gods, which are fake. And we were told in Deuteronomy 28 and 15, let's just get it real quick. Why is Israel a servant? Why is he a homeborn? Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Let's answer that right now. Before we move any further, let's answer that. And everybody gets mad. Oh, you can't use that verse. Why? Why can't we refer to the scriptures? Because it lines up with who we are. So, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Jeremiah 2 and 14, right? This is what Kanye meant by slavery is a choice. Let's see if he was right or not. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake take thee. So, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Why is Israel spoiled? Because we refuse to follow not just to follow, but to observe and to do all the commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. So that already cancels out your 10 commandment Christians, because it said commandments and statutes. My word does not change. The laws are not done away with. Let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Luke. Now we know why Israel's a homeborn slave. Let's keep going through the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21. And like I said, we're just going to skip right down to the point, or I'll literally try and read every verse from every chapter. I have to go right to it. So, book of Luke 21 and 24. And they that shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until, wait a second, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So, somebody tell me, who's being trodden down? Who's captive in all nations? Who shall be led away captive in all nations? Who falls by the sword? Who's getting shot in the streets? Who's going to jail? Somebody help. Tell me. Tell me, who are these people? Because I've never even heard of a Jewish person in jail. Have you ever seen an Orthodox Jew in prison? Have you ever even seen a Chinese person in prison? The only people you see in prison are so-called blacks, so-called Mexicans, and so-called Indians. And the evil-ass white people that you have to put away because they're fucking mass murderers. And I'm not saying all Caucasians are mass murderers, but there is a trend in that community. I'm not calling everybody out, but there's some serious questions. Let's just call it that. There's a lot of serious questions about, you're very questionable. So anyway, going back into Luke, chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Who is that? They shall be led away captive into all nations. Who is that? And Jerusalem, that's who it is, shall be trodden down down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So, who's getting trodden down? Kyrie Irving, Kanye, Nick Cannon. They're getting trodden down by the sword. And if any of the other people like Shaq or Barkley or any other so-called black person that's in the limelight stands up for them, they will also they'll fall by the edge of the sword, or they shall be led away captive, or they will be trodden down. They'll have all their shit taken away too. So wait a second. But it says that we're led away captive into all nations. It says that we're falling by the sword. But these people that are telling you they're the real Jews, really? But they can't prove anything that they're saying other than we'll take everything you got if you speak against us. They're showing you who they are. I'll show you who they are right now. Because I will take everything away if you go against me, because I'm oppressed and you're not oppressed. You are going against the doesn't make sense. We've been slaves up in this place. The Jewish people own the slave ships. They own the cargo. They own the supplies. They paid the ship captain and all of the workers on the ship. They were getting rich beyond all belief during the transatlantic slave trade. Now, let me show you what the scriptures say. So I know who these Jewish people are because they own everything, right? Let's see what the scriptures say about them. Job, chapter 9, going to verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So you're telling me that the person that has the power to take everything away from you is the oppressed? And the person that has no power and no might in their hands to do a damn thing is the oppressor? You guys can't see what they're doing? Let's go back to the book of Luke. Let's go back to the book of Luke, back to chapter 21. And we were at verse 24. Let's jump backwards a little and go to verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. What? Let me share something with you. Let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So let me just say this. We're scattered to the four corners of the earth. Let's just say that there were some Israelites in Ukraine. And let's just say a war broke out in Ukraine. Now, if you guys know the truth about Ukraine, they're all neo-Nazis. They're hella racist. No joke. They have to, when they put them on TV, what they do is they they blur out their swastika tattoos. These people are covered in them. These guys are super racist. So let's just say some Israelites, so-called black people, were trying to get out of the country to go over into, let's say, Poland, like all the Caucasians were doing in droves. They were shipping the Caucasians everywhere. Do you know that those black people never got to leave? They don't get to eat. They don't get a place to stay. And they were told to fight for Ukraine. So, and let not them that are in countries enter thereinto. They're not welcome where they're at. They're surrounded by racist people that literally have swastikas on and are straight real Nazis. And they try to leave. And the people in the other country are like, you niggers can't come over here. You stay over there. Remember that. Let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. Mountains, the other nations. Okay? See, you guys don't know this book, do you? You don't know this book. Let them that are in Judea flee to the mountains. Flee to the other nations. Let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And when you go out and you try to get away, they're going to not let you in the other countries either. It's that simple. That's where we're at right now. We're still living this out, and we're being told, nope, you're not the children of Israel. You can't. We're not even allowed to go to Israel. It said the children of Israel will not enter into the Holy Land until Yahushua brings them in, which is so-called Jesus for you guys. So you got to understand, the people are telling you that they're the holy people, but they're allowed in the Holy Land when the scripture said that they won't be there until the end. So the end's here, Yahushua return, everything's back. I'm trying to figure out, when did all this happen? And why are we still teaching each other? Because that's also in the scripture. I'm not going to get it out right now. I'm going to go right back into this class. We got a long way to go still. So let's definitely jump back into this. Oh yeah. Let's get back into this. Dr. Rudolph R. Windsor. Do you know who that is? That is the guy, the so-called black man, who wrote the book From Babylon to Timbuktu. So, we're going to pull that out. I actually have the book right here. This book was one of the first books that I bought when I started studying everything. Babylon to Timbuktu, highly recommended. But before I had the book, Before I had the book, I did the same thing I do with everything. I took notes and I wrote down everything word for word, which was the actual information that you're looking for in the book. The whole book isn't about just Israel. It's about all kinds of stuff, but I wanted to stick to what was about Israel. So, this is Dr. Rudolph R. Windsor. The book is From Babylon to Timbuktu. This is page 84. In the year 65 BC, before Christ, right? The Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. So in 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter during the period from Pompey to Julius. It has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into the land of Ham, or Canaan, or what we would call today as Africa. So that would be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's why they always say those three tribes are always called Jews. They came together. So, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery, the slave markets were full of so-called black, not Caucasian, black Israelite slaves. This is From Babylon to Timbuktu, Dr. Rudolph R. Windsor, page 86. The person and the Romans, the pagan and the Romans attacked the Jews indiscriminately. Well, what does that mean? Let's find out. Let's find out what indiscriminately means. What is the definition of indiscriminately? A random manner, systematically. So, let's read it again. The pagan and the Romans attacked the Jews systematically. Think about that. We live by the system right now, right? Look at your 13th Amendment. Look at it. It says that they can make us back into slaves just as long as they imprison us for doing something that they deemed wrong. So, systematically, they have attacked the Jews. Both Jewish soldiers, that is right there. We are not Jewish, but they put that in there. And what it does is when they throw in these little tiny lies, it changes the thought process. Mentally, you start seeing white people marching around again. But wait a second, I just showed you all through the Bible, everybody has been black. The markets were filled with black Israelite slaves. So, when they said the Jewish, they're not Jewish, they're the real Jews. So we're going to say both Yasharallah soldiers and the uninvolved peaceful population without mercy. So systematically, they attacked everybody without mercy. Whether you were a soldier, whether you were just living in peace, it didn't matter to these people. As a result of this merciless attack, many Jews fled into those parts of Northwest Africa known as Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and Mauritania, and many other Jews fled to areas where Rome did not have any jurisdiction. The region of the south, the Sahara Desert, and the Sudan, the Grezel says, such is the explanation of how the Sahara Desert first acquired Jewish tribes, toughened by a fighting tradition, and they possessed physical characteristics. Black, which is said still make them approximately, very closely, the original Jew population of Palestine. Why is it the Jew population of Palestine? So if you go to 1947, what they're calling Israel was Palestine. So let me keep going. The Romans wanted to put all Jews to death. So to get any peace, they had to migrate south into Africa. So the Romans weren't going into Africa at this point. And so that's why why isn't only Judah, Benjamin, and Levi only going into Africa? Because if you ever studied, you would know that the northern kingdom left long time ago when Jeroboam and Rehoboam got into a fight. Because Rehoboam was Solomon's son and Jeroboam killed him, and he was the leader of the northern kingdom. They jumped in boats, sailed across the Euphrates for a year and a half. The Most High slowed down the water so they could cross safely, and they came over here to where we live now. So-called native nation, so-called South Americans, so-called islanders. So that's why when we're getting into this Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, it's all over here in Africa because that's where they fled to. And I'm sure that, just the way we are as Israel, there's probably a couple of Jews, and there's got to be Levites over being the high priest over also with the northern kingdom when they came. So kind of put a split in everything. And the Most High did that on purpose. Now, I can't say that, there was Jews there that came over in the northern kingdom because we were fighting a war against them. But the Levites, yes, because we always had our spiritual leaders. Benjamin, I don't know. Benjamin and Judah were both the first kings of Israel, going into the southern kingdom, not the northern. So, let's just go back to this. This is why we're only talking about really Judah, Benjamin, and Levi today, because of the northern kingdom, we were already here. That's why they called this the New World, or I forget. But anyway, let's get back into this. So, we had the physical characteristics, black, which it is said still make them approximately very closely the original Jew population of Palestine. The Romans wanted to put all Israelites to death, so to get any peace, they had to flee deep into Africa. This is Dr. Joseph William, Hebrewism of West Africa, and this is page 227. So Dr. Joseph J. Williams, Hebrewism of West Africa, page 227. Whatever may be thought of, the more or less mythologies, traditions connected with the earliest Jews in North Africa, it is now practically an established fact that the Jew nations and perhaps they want to say Jewish in faith, and it's actually they have an Israelite faith to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and perhaps an origin, long held sway of south of the Sahara. So they're trying to say it could be possible that these are in origin the real Jews. They don't want to say that it's true because you've got all of these fake Jews over here that own everything, that'll take everything from you if you say anything. And they do it in the books too. So they indiscriminately oppress us. Systematically, they oppress us, even in the books. So let's keep going. Mark Aram Elrich, the professor of Judaic studies. Okay? So that's who this guy is that I'm getting ready to show you. This is the Encyclopedia of the Jewish Diaspora, Origins, Experience, and Culture, Volume 1, page 454. I ain't joking over here. I'm going to show you who we are according to history and the scriptures. I ain't joking. You guys always talking. That's what I hate about these rich people that only have money but no knowledge. You err not knowing the scriptures. You err not studying. You just go out there with your money and say some almost true shit, but these are the facts. These are the real facts. That's what people need to understand. We're not out here for ourselves. We're truly out here for Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. He said, wake up the children of Israel. How are we still asleep if we own everything? We don't. We don't own anything. They do. And they're saying that they are us, but it's impossible. Let me show you. It's impossible for them to be that. Show me an Orthodox Jew that lives in Africa that's a Caucasian. It's not possible. It is just not possible. There's no Jews coming out of Africa except for the so-called black Jews that came here on slave ships. And I'm going to get the map too. I'm going to have to show you guys the map. I'm going to have to get the Negro land map and show you that this is the kingdom of Judah when you're in Africa. But anyway, this is the Encyclopedia of Jewish Diaspora, Origins, Experience, and Culture, Volume 1, page 454. Like I said, we're going to get the facts today. In later centuries, Jews believed to have settled in West Africa during the height of the Songhai, Malay, Ghana, and Kanem Bornu Empire. Well, when do you remember Caucasians living in Africa during any of these names? Let's just go with Ghana or Songhai or Mali. Where do you remember Caucasians being there calling themselves Jews? It's not true. This is the truth. We know what the people look like in these places in Africa. We know exactly what they look like. And when they came in with the slave ships, these are the places where they went to get the slaves. So, according to the accounts from explorers of the region, several powerful Jewish families of the Songhai Empire were of Jewish origin. Bloodline. Some accounts place West African Jew or Israelite communities in the Ondo forest of Dahomey, south of Timbuktu. In the 1930s, these groups still maintained, listen to this, these groups still maintained a Torah scroll written in Aramaic that had been burned into parchment with a hot iron. Burned into parchment with a hot iron instead of ink, so it could not be changed by Europeans. Why would it say that? Why would it say that? They burned it in parchment, so it with a hot iron, so that instead of ink, so it could not be changed by Europeans. You mean they were doing iconoclasm all the way back in the beginning? Replacement theology? Changing things, in other words? Look. First Maccabees 3 and 48. First Maccabees 3 and 48. Watch this. Watch this. You want to see why they burned it in parchment? They burned it in parchment with a hot iron instead of ink, so it could not be changed by Europeans. Let me get a precept on that. Let me get a precept. This is why they would do this. 1 Maccabees 3 and 48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their image. If they didn't burn this shit into the paper, they would have changed it into something else. Straight up. Straight up. Let's keep going. This is back. We're going back to Dr. Rudolph R. Windsor, From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 90. The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them. The Jews made use of every opportunity because we're the smartest people on earth. Look it up. We've invented everything. They were an industrious and skillful people. In the Jew-Guana states were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, linguists, interpreters, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leatherworkers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, agriculturalists. So, etc., etc., etc. There's a bunch of other stuff we were doing too. But, what did they tell you? See, I'm 49 years old. When I went to school, this is what they told me. They told us we were spear chucking and swinging from vines, butt ass naked. Remember all them old movies where the Africans were just stupid, dumb idiots? Well, right here, it sounds like all of society is based on how we live our life. All of society is based on this. Let's keep going. Encyclopedia of the Jewish Diaspora, Origins, Experiences, and Culture, Volume 1, page 454. The decline of the Jewish communities of West Africa, Maghreb, most likely began with the influx, with the influx of what? Arab invaders into North Africa starting in 640 CE and later into West Africa in the 1300s and 1400s CE. So, your Arabs are now showing up also as one of our oppressors. They are not part of the kingdom. After the 7th century, Muhammad and his band of thugs, not Muslims, thugs, came down there to the west coast and forced. How did we become Muslims? We were forced into Islam by the sword, and that was the decline of the communities. In other words, if you weren't going to become a Muslim, they were going to kill you. Let's go back into the Bible. Let's go back into the Bible. Book of Joel, KJV, blue letter. We're going to go to chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 4. And yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense on your own head? See, these are all ancient Africans. So, you are going to get a repayment on your own head. You know what? Let's keep going. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, And oh man, oh man, because you've taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my godly pleasant things. Let me keep going. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem ye have sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them from their border. We were getting sold to the Greeks. The Africans and the Grecians, or Europeans, got together and decided to put the Israelite, the Igbo tribe, that's just one of many, into slavery. So, when you say, black people were the first one to it, no, it's not how it worked. The Africans made a deal with the Europeans. See, the Europeans came in with guns and all kinds of shit, and these guys didn't have that stuff. And so they were willing to show them exactly where the Israelites were. And they would come and point them out. And then the Europeans would come in and start killing and raping, robbing, murdering, and whoever. And then after, these people see that they can't defeat these powerful weapons that they have, and so they give up. Next thing you know, you got all these people in slavery. So Africans, not Israelites, put Israelites in slavery. And I showed you in the beginning, Negroes and Africans are two different people. Just because the skin color and our features, none of it's the same. None of it's the same. We're ruddy, which means like the color of a old penny. This is ruddy. It's a reddish brown, dark reddish brown. Let me keep going. Let's read it again. Let's read that again. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Greeks, the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. So now we have been scattered to the four corners of the earth, and the Africans and the Europeans got together and decided to put the Israelites into slavery. Now here we go. Professor David Ellis, Professor David Richardson, Atlas of the Transatlantic Slave Trade, page 1. Both buyers, Europeans, and sellers, Africans, saw the people traded into captivity on the African coast as outsiders. What do you mean they were outsiders? Africans did not sell their own people. They sold Israelites. They saw us as outsiders because I showed you we carried our culture and everything with us. We were completely different from them. We dressed different. We smelled different. We looked different. What the Caucasians did was they tried to put us all in the same category so they could fulfill the prophecy of the world being given into the hands of the wicked and painting their faces over the judges thereof. That's two verses being combined. I'm saying Job 9:24 and 1 Maccabees 3:48 is fulfilled. The whole point was to paint their image over our image so they could be the children of Israel, even though they're not. And guess what? They've been very successful at this, because now if you say anything about Israel, you get, look at the repercussions that are involved. If I said I'm a Muslim, no one cares. If I said I'm a Black Panther, no one cares. If I said I was a Hell's Angel, wow, the first Black Hell's Angel, people are proud of me. A Black Hell's Angel, wow, that's cool. But if I say I'm an Israelite, or I'm a Judean, or any of that, they say, well, are you from Israel? The people that are in Israel aren't from Israel. It's a bloodline. And that's what they've done. They've confused your minds to the point where you don't know what's going on anymore. And it's sad. Africans don't sell their own people. Europeans don't sell their own people. They sold Israelites. Okay, Tudor Parfit, Professor of Modern Jewish Studies. This book right here is called Black Jews in Africa and the Americas. This is page 111. There are both oral and written explanations that trace the origin of the Igbo, and the most tantalizing is the association of the Igbo to the Hebrew race. In other words, there's so many coincidences, it's unbearable. It's like all the evidence is there, but it's not there. All the evidence is there. All the evidence of who we are is there. It's not just about Deuteronomy chapter 28, starting at verse 15. No, it's about the whole book. It's about all these outside books showing you who you really are, or showing you who we really are. Depends on who you are. But this is a bloodline over here. This is a bloodline. And all these people with the power to take everything away from me are not a part of that bloodline. They prove it every time they open their mouths or they do something from behind the scenes, and you have to do the 6-step process. No, I will not do your 6-step process because it's anti-Shemitic. We're the real Shemites. Well, they are Shemites too, but we're the Israelites, and they're calling themselves who we are. But wait, let's go back into it. See, like I said, it's very interesting. It's super interesting, but they use the word tantalizing is an association of the Igbo to the Hebrew races. This assumption is based on the fact that Igbo culture has many similarities. Traditional customs, like that of the Jews, similar customs are observed in marriage, negotiations, childbirth, and circumcision, restitution, attitude on totem animals, and taboos. False God worship, as well as hospitality to others, especially to strangers, etc. The Igbo are therefore said to be the... Now this is another lie. There's only 12 tribes in Israel. I already showed you. There's only 12 tribes. There's only 12 gates. The Ashkenazi Khazars are trying to call these people the 13th tribe, but they are actually, in other books, pushing themselves in as the 13th tribe. So what is it? But let me show you. This is therefore said to be the group that split off the split and lost group or tribe of Israel that refused to wander further northeast with Moses. That didn't happen. Yahweh would have killed your ass for trying to split off. We spent 40 years in the desert together. That is called the precepts of men and man's vain imagination. Now, I read these books. I'm not letting anybody get away with anything. No, absolutely not. There was no split from Moses. These are the real Jews. But what they did right there is make a little bit of confusion so you could think, oh, well, the Israelites over there, they stayed. Those motherfuckers are Edomites. That's what you don't understand. There are Edomites in Israel. They're Edomites. That's why they can't get in the kingdom, and that's why they'll take your power away if you tell them who you are. Oh, you're an Israelite? Well, I'm taking everything from you. Why? Because they wanted to kill off all the Israelites unto this day. They think that for some reason, if they can kill us all, that we're not going to get the kingdom. All they can do, they can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. So every time they try to do something, it only shows clearly who we are. It only shows clearly who's oppressing us. But let me keep going. Because, like I said, I even put it in my notes. This portion is a lie. From refuse to wander further to the Moses, no, that's all a lie. That's all a lie. These are the real Jews. The real Jews I showed you back in the book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse 21 and 21, I think. It was Luke 21 and 21, where it said that they fled to the mountains. Luke, 21 and 21. When we were at 24, they it shows that that when they see the Romans coming, that the destruction of Israel is near. They've been wanting to kill us off since Jacob and Esau were born. It's been a war because Esau thinks in his mind that the inheritance of being the eldest actually should belong to him, so he wants to kill off Jacob. That is a spirit being carried out through all the descendants to this day. The thing is if you read the scriptures, you would realize that the Most High came down in a vision to Sarah and, not Sarah, Rebecca, or Rachel, Rebecca, I think it was Rebecca. Anyway, told her to do certain things because Jacob was going to get the inheritance. So she didn't make it up on her own, and Jacob wasn't really willing to be wicked against his brother, but it says, honor thy father and thy mother in the scripture. So if his mom tells him specifically that you do something because the angels came down and told her to do it, then he has to follow and honor his mother. So Jacob gets the inheritance. Esau's really mad. Esau wants it back to this day. He's not getting it back though. This goes all the way up to the kingdom. The kingdom came down and said Jacob is the inheritor, that Israel will inherit everything. And everybody that's trying to go against us will be put to death. That is going to happen soon. We're almost finished prophesying this truth. We're almost finished with all this. The arrows of truth have been shot forth, and they shall not return void. You can't do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. Let's go back into it. Mark Aram Elridge, Professor of Judaic Studies, Encyclopedia of the Jewish Diaspora, Origins, Experiences, and Culture, Volume 1, page 494. Okay? The Igbo people have many Israelite traditions. They say Jewish right there. I just refuse to say Jewish. We're not Jewish. We are the real Jews. So, the Igbo people have many Yashra traditions. Noon Katz, the current Israel ambassador in Nigeria, and others point to their possible ancient Israelite origin. So, like other people are saying, yeah, these are the real Israelites. Professor David Eltis, I don't know, maybe I'm saying his last name wrong. Don't really care. And Professor David Richardson, Atlas of the Transatlantic Slave Trade, page 127. The British were the major buyers before they banned their own slave traffic in 1807. Who were the British? Do you guys even know what the word British means? Do you know what Britain means? It means covenant man. Who has the covenant? So if you're British, it's just like saying you're Jewish. If you're Irish, that's just like saying you're Jewish. You'll find out one day. You guys are going to find out this truth. The British were a major buyer before they banned their own slave traffic in 1807. So the British were actually started off as during I think it was the Byzantine Empire, and then they were taken over by Caucasians when the Romans came back into power. So the British at this point are clearly Caucasians. They were replaced by the Portuguese and the Spanish for as long as the traffic continued. Here, the majority of the captivities were speakers of Igbo dialect. So it's saying that after the British finally said, we can't do this anymore. Who knows why? Maybe they've got enough slaves. And they handed it over to the Portuguese and the Spaniards. And the Spaniards ran that shit into the ground until it was illegal to transport slaves. And then what did they do to them? Do you know what they did to the slaves when they found out that they could be punished or fined or even put to death because they had slaves on their ship? They threw them all overboard with chains tied to them still. Just threw them overboard. So, let's read that again. The British were major buyers before they banned their own slave traffic in 1807. They were replaced by the Portuguese and Spanish for as long as the traffic continued here. The majority of the captives were speakers of the Igbo dialect. Okay, and that brings us back to Deuteronomy 28:68. Biblical prophecy fulfilled. Let's get it. Let's just pull it out. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 28. Because, honestly, Christian, I don't care who you are, you get so mad when you hear this scripture because what it does is the spirit of truth comes flying through you and you're not in the truth. So when you feel the truth, you're offended by the truth because you hate Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. You are an antichrist. That's why you say, oh, you can't use that. You can't use that scripture because that's not true. Yes, it is. It is so true. It kills you inside to hear it. So let's get it. Let's offend some more people with it. Deuteronomy chapter 28:68. And Yahweh shall bring thee back into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I speak unto thee. By the way whereof. So, the way you went into slavery, I'm telling you right now, you shall see it no more again. The way we went into slavery, you've never seen it before in history, and you're never going to see it again in history being done to the Israelites, the so-called black people. Okay? And there you shall be sold to your enemies as bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. So you'll be sold to your enemies as slaves, and no man shall buy you. Well, they have a freeman paper during the slave trade. Let's just stick to the transatlantic slave trade. They had freeman papers, but no one was willing to give up their slaves because you're a slave. If you're a slave, you were an asset or a liability, depending on what kind of slave you were, to the slave master, and he had insurance on you. If he gave up one of his slaves, he's giving away all his insurance and everything. He's giving up his money. People don't give away money, so no man will buy you. No man will set you free. Also, during these biblical times, I showed you all through history, we've been enslaved in every nation. We've been slaves in every nation, right? And so we have a Levitical law that says if your brother goes in slavery, you can buy him out. The reason why in this captivity, you wouldn't be able to buy your brother out because you're standing next to him in slavery with him. So, this is why you don't hear about Black history prior to the pretty much 1611 when the authorized King James version of the Bible came out. They don't want you to know they made it illegal for a black man to read a Bible. Let's go, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to get some more scriptures. Let's go ahead and get I'm gonna get some more, and then we're gonna call it. I'm gonna drive so many nails in this coffin, you'll never be able to get it open again. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. It makes me angry because everybody knows the truth, and they're so offended by the truth. And I'm gonna get that too. Let's just get that real quick. I gotta get that out real quick. Let's just go right to that. They hate hearing the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to be lied to. So let's get that. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9. This is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy lies, or prophesy deceits. You guys are offended at the truth. Let me get one more. Let me get one more. Let me get one more. They hear the truth and they are offended. What chapter and verse? I can't remember where it's at. Matthew. I knew it was in Matthew. Oh. Hold on, guys. I got my neighbor calling me up. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get back into it real quick. My neighbor was, he didn't know that I was teaching a class, but I thought something was wrong with the dogs or something. So, I'll get it in. Let me get this out for you guys real quick. Here it is. Let's go ahead and watch. This is what I told you. You guys are offended by this word. You're offended by the truth. That's why you don't want to hear Deuteronomy 28 and 68, because you know it's the truth. You know who it's talking about, and what you do is you fight it off. So let me show you something. This is called the sower soweth the word. This is the book of Mark, chapter 4, and we're going to start. That's verse 14. The sower soweth the word. We're going to start there. So, verse 14, the sower soweth the word. Verse 15, these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. So who came in and took everything from Kanye and Kyrie? Who came in? Who came in immediately? Thank you. That's right, Satan took all their shit. Not the Israelites. The Israelites have no power at this time. But wait, there's more. Verse 16. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness. Oh, I'm an Israelite. Yeah. And have no root in themselves. And so endure but for a time. Afterwards, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. So you're not really in the truth. You like to say you're in the truth. You like to feel this, that, and the third. But once the oppressor comes out and starts cracking the whip, you pull a Barkley and tell him, I think that guy should have been suspended. Blah, 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 blah. I hate you, Barkley. I hate Charles Barkley. I hate Shaquille O'Neal. They're coons. Giant porch monkeys for the slave master. So, I just can't believe that they would go against their own people just to make sure that they say it. Just shut up in the whole first place. Don't have anything to say if you don't got something positive for the children of Israel. So let's go back into it. Now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 16, blue letter. And we're going to start at verse 10. We're going to read verse 10 and we'll start there. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt shew this people all these words, they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath Yahweh pronounced all these great evils against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against Yahweh? Don't you? Okay, wait, no. Let's just keep reading. Let's keep reading. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. What did I tell you the reason? Oh, slavery is a choice. Yes, it is. We chose not to follow the law and to go after false gods with the other nations. I already told you this. Let's keep going though. Why are we in trouble? Why did this happen? You gotta be crazy. You gotta be crazy not to know why this happened. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 6, chapter 24. And we're going to start at verse, get right to the point, 7. Listen carefully, because you guys said, why are we this? Why are we that? Why is all this happening to us? Right? Right? I just showed you in the other verse. It says, what is our sin? What is our iniquity? What great evil is against us? Let me show you what great evil's against you. This is Exodus 24, and we're going to go right down to verse 7. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord hath said, hath said, will we do, and be obedient. So he opened up the book of the law, he read the book of the law, and we told him, we'll be obedient, we'll do exactly what the book says. That's exactly what we're going to do. That sounds great. Let's keep going. And Moses took the blood. It's a sealed deal with sealed in blood. This is a problem. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it onto the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh hath made with you concerning all these words. What words? We will do and be obedient, Lord. All that you have told us, we will do and be obedient. So when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 15, it tells you, if you will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, then the curses come upon you. Well, we're telling him right now, you sprinkled the blood on us, we're going to be obedient, we're going to do everything you say. Why do you think we're under this oppression? We lied. We did not follow the instruction. Let's go to Deuteronomy anyway. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter. Everybody hates Deuteronomy. More offenses. Oh no, he's going back into Deuteronomy. Hurry, get the Christian soldiers out. Get the Jehovah's Witnesses. He's going into Deuteronomy. That's how I feel like. There's got to be a war. Let me show you. Deuteronomy 28, starting from the top. And it came to pass. And it shall come to pass. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Yahweh, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, the Lord, Yahweh, will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. I just got to read verse 2 with this because we never get to hear verse 2. So let's read verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh. That is so simple. All we had to do was follow his instructions diligently, with joyfulness and gladness of heart. Thank you, Father. Thank you. The water of Barakadam, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, that I can actually read these words and know that I'm one of the children of Israel and be able to find my way into the kingdom. Thank you. The water of Barakadam. Thank you and blessings, Father. But what did people do? Let's skip down to verse 15. Read it again. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. And what we're going to do after this is get a couple of the curses on our people, and then I'm going to shut it down. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Okay? So we know that. And we've heard it more than once now. So, there, you could be offended, you could be this, you could be that, but that don't change the facts. This is truth. This is the truth, written by your scholars, your authors. These are your books. This book right here, the Bible, that's our book. You made it illegal for us to read it. We know that that's ours. But all these outside books I've been showing you guys, that's their stuff. They're showing us who we are. That's why I have to go to a certain page, paragraph 2, and get you the meat. Because everything else is a lie. That's why you don't even read the books or hear about them, because they're all lies. But there'll be like one paragraph in a whole book that's about us that tells the truth. You have to actually do some research to get this kind of information. They are relying on you not. They're relying on you not studying. That's why they have the upper hand. Kanye can't come in like this. They would never come near me. You ain't winning a debate with me. They know it. They banned everything I've got. I can barely even go on the internet. It'll probably take 2 days for this video to upload. Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Let's see what happens with this is one of the curses. Because during slavery times, at 3 years old, your son or daughter would be taken from you and put on a different plantation. They would not want the family to grow back into a strength and be together. So, also, during right before the pandemic started, 1,500 Mexican kids disappeared coming across the border under Trump's presidency. Those 1,500 kids disappeared forever and were never heard of again. That's strike 2. And when Queen Elizabeth was still alive, she went into Canada and took a whole group of kids that were never seen or heard from again. Okay, that's a lot being said right there. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Because this is a curse against the Israelites for not keeping the laws, and I already showed you that. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eye shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. That's a lot. They're going to take your kid. You'll be looking left and right, just wishing you could have him back. All day, just wishing you could get this kid back, having no power to do anything about it. Let's get another one. Let's get a precept to that one. Let's get a precept to your kids being taken away. Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Did that happen? So, where are the fucking Jewish people in captivity? Where are they? How do they control, run, own everything, but also be the people suffering the curses? You see how they lie? And if you say anything, they'll just take everything from you, sweep you under the rug. We own the media. They own it. Man, you guys are crazy if you think that what's going on right now, it's not real. Oh, you're just these black Hebrews. I'll get my wife out here right now. She's white. I'll get my kids. I have a white son. Now what? My wife's the fucking Kawataba. You know what that is? That's a native nation. That's a so-called Indian. We were scattered to the four corners of the earth, raped, robbed, and murdered. She don't look like her people. I don't look like my dad. I'm lighter. I'm the lightest dude in my whole family. So, and my mom has been telling me she's Cherokee since I was born. She's white. So to say, oh, it's a black, it's not about a color. I'm reading a class right now showing you that originally, before we got scattered, we were swarte. What is swarte? Dark skinned. Now we look like the other nations. So when people come in and they think that they're gonna pull some liar ass shit, not with me, and not with this family, and not with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai on our side. We stand with the truth. And ain't nobody gonna win a debate against the truth. Let's keep going. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's go over to verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. What? A sign. The curses. The curses are on you forever. I'm still cursed. I bring out the classes. Oh, well, you know, I keep the laws, so I'm over here. No, I'm not over there. Because all through history, I am my forefathers. I'm the one that broke the laws in the past time. Now I have to repay for the laws that I broke. I am not getting away with anything just like anybody else. And anybody that thinks that they're above and exempt, they're lying. I've seen the greatest prophets out there getting curses. And I know that they're the prophets. Let's keep going. Because thou servest not Yahweh. So let's go back to 46 again. We'll read right through so you can get the context. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not Yahweh with joyfulness and gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. What did I tell you 5 minutes ago? Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he destroy thee. So let's get into that. Let's get into that. First of all, you didn't keep the laws. I showed you that when you heard the law, you thought it was great, but then when you found out that there were works involved, you were offended, you hated the law, and you went against Christ. Therefore, now you're stuck serving your enemies. You don't own any food, anything. You have to go to your oppressor, which would be the grocery store, the convenience store. You're not growing food. You don't have a farm. Don't fool yourself. I grow food. I have a farm. I can't even fool myself because I can't grow enough food in the amount of time yet. We're getting bigger every year. So you had better been doing this for years before you think you're just out there growing your own food. So no, you're not. I have to go to the grocery store every single week, just like everybody else, even though I grow my own food. So you're not growing your own food. So you're going in hunger, right? Thirst, you do not have any type of way of getting water unless you pay your water bill. And we're going to stick to the basics on that. Nakedness. Do you own a textile company? Do you have the flax or any of the other materials that it takes to make clothes? No. You got to go to the store for that too. So you're in nakedness unless you go to the store to buy little polo fits and your little Fiji or your Gucci's. I'm a Gucci band for life type person over here. I don't like none of them. I don't like none of them. Nakedness. You know you don't have clothes. In want of all things. If you're not a slave, why do you have to either rob, steal, work your fingers to the bone, hustle, struggle? You're in want of all things. You can't just have things. You guys don't understand this book. In the kingdom, we're supposed to have these things for free. So, let me read one more. And then, we're going to close it out. So, Deuteronomy 28 and 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And we could actually get into that too, I guess, but we're not going to today, because we know who the nation is. It's the Edomite nation. From afar, from the end of the earth, they came from over there to the new world over here, the west, or however we call it, the North America, whatever we call it. This is the nation where they came to. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Now, I'm going to show you just really quick that, and then we're going to close it out. So watch this. With a stammering lip and another tongue you shall learn this doctrine. What chapter and verse? So this is what this is talking about right here. Isaiah 28 and 11. With stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Because another tongue is the where it says that you will let's go back to it. Deuteronomy 28 and 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So Isaiah 28:11 shows you wait, what was it again? Yeah, here it is. You read one of these other versions and you'll wonder what happened to the verse. Seriously, that's why I stick with the King James. That's why I stick, because it says the same thing, but at the same time, they change it so much it could actually mean something else. So, let's go back one more time to Deuteronomy 28:49. Thou shalt bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And this is a stammer. Why I want to bring out this verse, with a stammering lip and another tongue will he speak to his people, Isaiah 28:11, is because the stammering lip and another tongue, it shows you that this is that the tongue we won't understand. If I say I want to go to the store to get 2 loaves of bread. You want to go 2, it's going to cost $2. That's hella stammering. How many times can you say 2 and it means something different? So that's what that's getting into. You don't understand this tongue. You're not going to. You have to study it and then they have these words that they use, and that's why we sit here with the blue letter looking everything up so we can figure out how everybody's trying to encode what they're saying, whether it be with the Bible or outside of the Bible. Now, I'm going to read one more little thing to you and then I'm going to let it go. The reason the news, media, TV, and movies are getting more loose and crazy because the Israelites are starting to wake up. And if Israel wakes up, Yahushua has to return. and fulfill the biblical prophecy. The hand of evil knows this. That's Job 9:24. We know who it is now. We know who the Israelites are now. If you listen to this whole class, you know who the Israelites are now. And you know what they look like, according to Scripture and updated. The hand of evil knows this. Right now, the hand of evil thinks they can keep the Israelites asleep by taking everything away from anybody that says anything about Israel. They can prolong the return, so it's imperative that the Israelites, as Israelites, we have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. This is also the spiritual war that we're in. This is the war we've been talking about. It's happening. It's been going. It's been going. This is the spiritual war. So, the thing is the way that we win is the more of us that keep the law, the weaker they get. We have 144,000 prophets out there within the 1/3. 144,000 prophets within the 1/3. So when the Israelites start waking up, what happens is it's going to start pushing the prophecies to be fulfilled, which causes the prophecy of Yahushua returning, and the chariots and the fire and all of that. It has to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. But after the elect are all awake, it's crazy. Because we've only been reading this book. We've only actually been allowed to actually read books for barely 100 years right now. And that's why and for 200 years, they made it illegal for us to be able to read books. And that way it'd be easier for them to reteach us. Do you understand what's going on here? They took our history, they crumbled it up, they threw it away, they made it illegal for us to read, write, or do anything. And then after the 200 years, they started trying to reteach us. So now, all through Israel, there's confusion. No one knows who they are. And you've got a bunch of porch monkey coons trying to tell you, no, listen to your oppressor. He'll tell you the truth. That is not true. The oppressor is not going to tell you the truth. You can't go to a liar and expect not to be lied to. And with that being said, Deuteronomy, Revelation 22 and 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments. Woo! That was the whole point of this story today, right? That they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city. And remember, that's only talking about Israelites. The other nations, I showed you, that they have put us into captivity throughout all history. So if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, it's I think Mark 14 and 16. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope you are able to get something out of this message. Shalom.